I was wondering, so I always try to, I'm looking at the same things, of course, in the markets as well, but from an economist perspective. And I always try to relate it to this theory by Robert Shiller. I think you may know. But sort of, he's like from the behavioral finance space. And what he often says is like if there's irrational exuberance, so if basically like the point, like if your neighbor is giving you like Patrick Boyle, an ex-hedge fund manager, stock tips, then you're in a bubble. And I was maybe a little bit too young at the time, but I heard stories that this was the case during the dot-com bubble. This was definitely the case crypto 2017. Then I made a video about crypto early in this cycle, and I thought it wasn't the case, but now I use the barometer of how much spam comments I get about investing in crypto to get an idea of where we are in that bubble cycle of irrational exuberance. Do you also relate to that?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting idea. The funny thing with the spam comments, because I get them on my channel too, and I'm always trying to get rid of them. But it made me laugh, like even kind of 2 weeks ago when, I don't know, Bitcoin was down like 50 or 60% on the year. You'd have these, the way they put these sort of fake conversations within the chat under your videos. And there'd be these chats kind of going, crypto's definitely the best place to make money right now. And you're looking at it and you're like, wow, like they really, like they don't even care. Like they're just using the same conversation, even though the entire thing has collapsed. It's interesting. I do think there is a thing of people getting really drawn into the markets at certain points. And there's a book that I really enjoy that's called Market Sense and Nonsense by Jack Schwager, and all of those Market Wizards books and that sort of thing. But this book is kind of a really interesting one in that he kind of unpicks a few ideas around the efficient markets hypothesis. But there's, how do you know that things are getting frothy? It's always, it's kind of hard to tell because things always change. And I worry as well that if you were to kind of take the sort of shoeshine boy example, I think the famous story from that, it might have been Jesse Livermore, one of these guys who got a stock tip from a shoeshine boy and kind of decided that the market had peaked in 1929. And that's sort of gone down in market lore. But the problem with that is that possibly you're always too early. There's the opposite argument to that is George Soros's argument, which is that, he sort of feels that these things kind of cycle up and cycle down. And he says that SIA should pop to it because has the potential of expanding. And then the trick is to get out before it bursts, but he doesn't advocate reversing psychology. He advocates almost kind of joining in, but being aware that things are not normal. So